some questions. I think Danny asked me the same thing. Make sure you follow what the variable is used when you guys do proving or doing like ask you to simplify. If they use theta, make sure you use the symbol theta, don't use x. If they use the variable y, use variable y, don't use variable x. Okay, so I want to point out to you because I got students use y or x, y instead of x instead of y or theta, what the question originally used, they will mark you wrong. Okay, just want to point out when you guys did 7.1 homework, and same thing with 7.2 and 7.3. So anyone have any questions for me for this chapter 7 homework here? Before I continue with the last section today, which is 7.3. Anyone have any questions for me? And also for your test is next week, so make sure you guys know when to the test, either Monday or Wednesday. You only come for one day. There's no Zoom class. There's no classes because it's a next week is a test week for me. So please do send me an email if you have any questions. Anyone have any questions for me before we start 7.3 here? Anyone? If you do, please ask me after class. So so some of you are shy or something else. So we're gonna continue with 7.3 in this case. So with number 2 here. So question number 2 in this case is given to us by this question. Sine square 2x equals to 3 cosine square x. Now, every time when you want to solve a trigonometric equation here, make sure that they have the same trigonometric function. Means that if you cannot do sine and cosine, means you have to write everything in terms of sine or everything in terms of cosine for this question. So you cannot do partial like this. So we had to use identities here because of the squaring. Can someone tell me? We change it again? Doesn't matter. Either you can change everything in terms of sine or you can change everything in terms of cosine. No matter how you do it, your answer is still going to be the same. So can someone tell me for question 2, what do you want to change into? All in terms of sine or all in terms of cosine? And don't forget, this question wants you to write in the infinite solutions here. So you want to change everything into what? Sine or cosine? Anyone? So let's say we're going to change everything into sine. So this is the one we need to change. The rest is the same. So we do not need to change these 2. And the 3 is still here. So can someone tell me how we change this into sine? You guys should know this. Nicholas, Adrian, what kind of identity to change this to sine?
You can use Pythagorean identity.
And what will be this will be if you change it into sine using Pythagorean?
Would it be 1 minus sine?
Yep, that is correct. So what we do here is like solving equations. So we distribute the 3. So we will get sine square x equals to 3 minus 3 sine square x. So I will distribute the 3. And then like equations, we want to make all the sine into one side. So I will add 3 sine square x here. So I just move this to that side. So like equation. So this will become 4 sine square x equals to 3. Okay, so I just move that over there. And then in order for us to make x by itself, I will divide this by 4. So that is gone. And I need to get rid of the square. So in order for me to get rid of square, I take the square root. And every time when I take a square root, what do we need to put next to the square root? This is very important. Anyone? What do we put on next to the square root here?
Plus or minus?
Yes. So a lot of students did not do this, and you will get the wrong answer. Now, if you remember that when you do your the quadrant, all students take calculus. Do you know what happens when you have plus and minuses in there? Means what quadrant it affects. If you have plus and minuses, it affects what? All 4 quadrants. That means that you will have 4 answers here. 2 of them is positive and 2 of them is negative. So that's why a lot of students forget to put plus and minuses. They only give me 2 answers. Actually, you have 4 answers in this case. Okay. So we're gonna do a little bit of square root here. So square root of 3 is square root of 3. Square root of 4 is 2. Okay. And then we move the sign over there. So you will have the arc sign of it. And again, I just mentioned early on, because you have plus and minuses, your answer in this case will consist of 4 quadrants. Okay, so you have to give me all the 4 quadrants. Again, the unit circle will help you, because once you know it's over 4, then everything is going to be over 4. So if you look at your unit circle, so what happens is, let's check the unit circle here. So this is the unit circle that we have. Again, you are allowed. I will provide you this in the test without any coordinates. So it's a blank one. So which sign in this case is what coordinates, X or Y? Sign is your Y value, right? So can someone tell me which one of this Y value give us √3 over 2? Okay, go ahead. Is that the orange one, the blue one, or the black one? Which one of this give me √3 over 2?
Orange.
Orange does not give you √3. Don't forget, this is sine. Sine is what value? Sine is the Y value.
Is it black?
Yep. So will be pi over 3 here. So don't forget, because it's plus and minuses, so anything over 3 will be your answer. So it's pi over 3, 2 pi over 3, 4 pi over 3, and then 5 pi over 3. So your answer in this case will be pi over 3, 2 pi over 3, 4 pi over 3, and 5 pi over 3. And because this question wants us in an infinite solution, then you just do plus 2n pi or 2k pi or whatever, n of k. So pi over 3 plus 2n pi, 2 pi over 3 plus 2n pi, 4 pi over 3 plus 2n pi, and then 5 plus 2n pi. So this is your answer in this case for this question.
I have a question. On the test, when you give us the unit circle, can we write the coordinates
Yes.
on our own?
Yes, that's what you do, Sundus. That's what you have to do. So when I give you the unit circle, the first thing is to do is just write like this, the whole thing. Okay, make sure you write the unit, the coordinates, and make sure you know sine is y, cosine is x, tangent is y over x. So yes, that is your first thing to do, Sundus. Or not you, everyone do it. So when you guys do my test, that is the first thing you do is write down all those coordinates. Now, anyone have any questions here? Okay. In my test, I can tell you that I do not want the infinite one. I just want you in 0 to 2 pi. That means in one revolution. So if I just want this in one revolution, then your answer in this case will be just this 4 answer. So this will be your answer if I want in 0 to 2 pi. Okay, in one revolution. Okay. But for the infinite, you're going to do the plus 2n pi. Okay. Yang, I'm not, gosh, Yang, I'm tired of you already. Next, question number 3. Question number 3 is doing this tangent square 3x minus 1/3. So what we do here is the x is already on one side. So we want to get rid of the square. So I will divide everything. I will square root it. And as usual, square root, I need plus minus. So don't forget the plus minus. So again, the plus minus means you need to give me 4 quadrants. Okay. So in the test or in your homework, if you have a square like this, means you need to give me in 4 quadrants, 1 to 4. So plus minus, 1 is still 1, but root 3 is still root 3. So square of 1 is 1, root 3 is root 3. But we do not like this. We want it to be rationalized. So this, if you rationalize, anyone know what's the rationalize of this? Anyone rationalize?
Isn't it root 3 over 3?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, and then because we want to solve for x, so I would remove the tangent over. So 3x in this case will be the arctangent of that, plus minus root 3 over 3. And because of the plus minus, you will have 4 quadrants. Okay. Now, do not forget that last time, remember, we just find that in your unit circle and then we are done. But don't forget, this is not x, this is 3x. So once you do this, you have to solve for x, you have to divide by 3. So let's take a look at the unit circle. And we need to look for this root 3 over 3. So as you know, that tangent is y over x. So that's why you see that I put a lot of y over x over here. Means I dividing the y value with the x value, and I got this value here. This value that you see, y over x, is for tangent. So can someone tell me which one of this radian measurement here give us root 3 over 3? The orange one, the blue one, or the black?
Is it the orange one?
So it's pi over 6. So your answer in this case will be pi over 6. So that is in quadrant 1. What will be the quadrant 2 will be? Anyone? It will be
Pi over 6.
Yep. Again, because it's over 6, so anything over 6 will be your quadrant. The next one will be 7 pi over 6. And the last one is 11 pi over 6. And we're gonna add k pi. So what is the difference between not k again, I do not know what your homework do. I think it's using n pi. Again, I'm not picky with n or k pi. The reason why you're using n pi here is because tangent has a period of pi. Sine and cosine has a period of 2 pi. So the one that we did here is 2n pi is because it has is sine. So this is n pi. Unfortunately, if you write your answer like this, you will get it wrong. The reason why you get it wrong is because you're not solving for x. This is 3x. So what do we need to do here is we need to divide everything here by 3. So now you will get x. So now you need to take these values, pi 6, 5 pi over 6, 7 pi over 6, and pi 11 pi over 6 divided by 3. When you divide by 3, the 6 will be divided by multiplied by 3, so you will get 18. So your answer will be pi over 18 5 pi over 18, 7 pi over 18, and 11 pi over 18, plus, there used to be n pi, so this will be n pi over 3. So do not forget that this n pi has to be divided by 3 also. So this will be your answer for question number 3 here. 11 pi, pi over 5 pi over 18, 7 pi over 18, 11 pi over 18. Now, if you want to give, this is for the infinite revolution. If you want to be from 0 to 2 pi, this will be your answer. And this is something I want to add on to you guys. You also need to have 12 answers here. The reason why I say you will have 12 answers is because if you have just one, you just have 4 answers, let's say. If you have 2, you will double it. So 4 answers will become 8 answers. This one we have 3. So 3 means you will have to triple it. So that's why you got 4 answers. So what happened is your answer will be this: pi over 8, 5 pi over 8, 7 pi over 18, and 11 pi over 18, all this. And then that's when n is 0. And then you have to replace n equals to 1 to find the other 4 answers. And then you have to replace n equals to 2 to find the next 4 answers. So that's why you will get these 4 answers plus n equals to 1, you got another 4. N equals to 2, you got another 4. So that means you got a total of 12 answers here. So so make sure you guys understand that when you got multiple like this, you will have multiple answers. Okay. So what you do for n is 1, you just take pi over 18 plus pi over 3. So that will be the first answer you have. And then you do the 5 pi over 18 plus pi over 3. That will be your second answer. And then you do 7 pi over 18 plus pi over 3. That will be your third. And then you change 11 pi over 18 plus pi over 3. That will be the fourth. So this is for when n is 1. And then when you do n is 2, you will do pi over 18 plus 2 pi over 3. Because now your n is 2. You will get another answer. And then you do the 5 pi over 18, you get the second. 7 pi, you will get the third. And then 11 pi, you will get the fourth. So this is how you get your 4 answers for n is 2. So it's a lot of work. It's not easy when you have a multiple angle like this. Anyone have any questions for me here? Anyone? Okay, so next we're going to talk about is number 4. So question 4 in this section is asking us to do this. Now, when you look at this, this is already been factored for us. So you do not need to change everything into sine and cosine because it's already equals to 0. So what you do in question number 4 here is you just set each one of these equals to 0. It's like factoring, and this is been factored. So what you have in this case is 2 sine square x minus 1 equals to 0. And then 4 cosine square x minus 3 equals to 0. And then we try to solve for x in this case. So we had to do it twice for this. So I move the 1 and 2 over by 2. So sine square x in this case will be 1/2. And then I take the square root of it because that has a square. Don't forget the plus minus. So this will become just sine x. Can someone tell me what is the square root of 1/2? If you rationalize it.
It would be 1 over the square root of 2, and then it'd become root 2 over 2.
Yep, so this will be root 2 over 2. So this is 1 over root 2. Yep, that is correct. And then you move the sign over here, so it become the arc sine of it. And the good news is this is x. So not 1x or 3x. Oh, it's 1x, not 2x or 3x or 4x like what we did earlier on. So again, you need to figure out what is this. And don't forget, you got plus and minuses. So you have 4 quadrants. Okay, so plus and minuses give you 4 quadrants. So looking at the unit circle that you have here, can you tell me which one of this give us root 2 over 2 for sine? Pi 6, pi 4, or pi 3?
Pi 4.
Okay, so first quadrant is pi 4, second quadrant is pi what? Three pi over 4, right? So you'll be pi over 4, 3 pi over 4, 5 pi over 4, and 7 pi over 4. Because those will be all over 4, 5 pi and 7 pi over 4. And because it's a sine, so you just need to plus 2n pi. So you take all this plus 2n pi, and this is your answer in this case. So anyone have any questions? I want you guys to do the same thing for this case, because question 4 is not done yet, because you still have to, you did the sine piece. Now we need to do the cosine piece. So I want you guys to go ahead and solve for cosine for me. Cosine x is something, because you got a square, you need to do the plus minus in this case. And then figure out using your unit circle, what is this one will be. Don't forget, cosine is the x value on the unit circle. Anyone know what you get when you solve for cosine x? Anyone? Hello? Cosine x? Damon? How do you solve for cosine x here? Yep, very good. Yep, Ming, very good. So this you add 3 and then over 4 because you divide the 4, and then in order for us to get this a square, you take the square root of it, plus and minuses. This is actually, if you do the it is root 3 over 2. Yep, plus and minuses root 3 over 2. So this is the arc cosine of root 3 over 2. That is correct. And now you need to use your unit circle to figure out Ming, that is correct. So again, looking, because it's plus minuses, you got 4 answers. So which one of these is root 3 over 2 for cosine? Cosine is the x value. Pi over 6, pi over 4, or pi over 3? Which one of these symbolizes here? It is over 6. Yep, yep. So your answer in this case will be pi over 6. That's your first quadrant. Plus minus means you need all 4 quadrants. The next one will be 5 pi over 6. 7 pi over 6. And 11 pi over 6. And then you just need to add 2n pi here for each one of this. And that will be your answer in this case. Anyone have any questions for me? Anyone? Anyone? You can write this in your test if you are running out of time. Instead of writing +2n pi for every 4 of this, if you are running out of time, you can just do like what I just did here. I understand what you do, but in your homework, don't do this. They will not understand what you're writing. So in your homework, you do need to write +2n pi for every single one of it. Okay. If they mark you wrong here, just reply back to me and I will give you the point back if it's correct. Because the reason why there is a trick to simplify this, but I'm not showing you the trick. So some of you might get this question wrong. If you do this like this in here and put in your online homework, they mark you wrong, just send me an email, ask my instructor. I will give you back the point back. So don't worry about it. I know they will mark you wrong for this case, and the reason why is because of you can simplify furthermore, which you do not need to do that in my class. So I'm very happy with you if you know how to do this. So I want you guys to try to do question number 5 here, which is 2 sine 2x plus √3 equals to 0. So these are kind of questions you will get in your test 1 on next week, like number 5 or number 6. Yep. So like usual, we solve for x or sine 2x in this case. Now you don't have plus minus here because there's no square. So there's no square root here. So can someone tell me how do we get rid of sine 2x is what in this case? This is not tough.
Would it be √3/2?
Negative √3/2. Don't forget the negative because you move the positive, right? And then you move the sign over there. So this sign become the arc sign. Now, can someone tell me what quadrant sign is negative? See, last time plus minus, you do all 4 quadrants. This is only negative. Anyone know what sign is negative? What quadrant is it?
3 and 4.
3 and 4. So if you look at your unit circle, what is quadrant 3 and quadrant 4 for sine is negative √3/2. Don't forget, sine is your y value, not the x value. Anyone?
7 pi. Oh wait, cosine is the x value, right? Or wait, sine
Yeah.
is the y value. My
Yeah.
bad. So never mind. 4 pi 3.
And
5 pi 3.
yep. So when you say 3, then make sure you check the 3 for the other one. So yep. So this one will be 4 pi over 3. And then this is 5 pi over 3. And because I want to be infinite, so you just need to add 2n pi here. I'm going to do it for this case. This is not your answer because it's 2x. So in order for us to get x by itself, I will have to divide 2. I have to divide everything here by 2. Everything. So what you get when you divide everything by 2. So you will get x here now. Does anyone know what happens when you take 4 pi over 3 divided by 2 is? You guys have calculated.
Would you get 8 pi over 3?
Not 8 pi over 3. Take out your calculator. This, you can use your fraction. So you ignore the pi. 4, you should have a fraction button called ABC, 3. And then divided by 2. So if you have a calculator, please take it out. Ignore the pi because it will be icky. So go ahead and you should have an ABC button in mostly your calculator. If you use a TI, you should have they have an ABC button on it. So 4 ABC 3 divided by 2. I think did I teach you this on the first day? What do you get when you type this in your calculator? And it's not 8 pi over 3. Anyone? Hello? So this will be 2 pi over 3. So yes, this will came out to be 2 over 3. And don't forget that this 2n pi has to divide by 2. So the 2 and 2 will cancel. So what you get in this case is just n pi. So this is for quadrant 3. Quadrant 4, you also have to take this divided by 2. So now you do 5 ABC 3 divided by 2. And what do you get? Class, another way for you to do this is because you are not allowed to use a calculator here. This is something very simple. So divide by 2 means you multiply by 1/2, flip it. So this is actually what? 5 pi over 6. So these are the stuff that fractions, which a lot of you do not like. And guess what? You will see that a lot in this class, especially we are doing a lot of fractions here in radian. And so when we start to divide by 2 and divide by 3, make sure you guys know how to do that. So something pretty basic here. So this is how we do question number 5. Now you do question number 6. So write cosine x over 2. Anyone know what is that gonna be if you try to solve this? Anyone?
Would it be root 2 over 2?
Yep, that will be root 2 over 2. And then we move the cosine over. So this will be the arc cosine of root 2 over 2. Now this is not x or 3x, this is x over 2. Okay, so remember last time we got 3x or 2x, we divide by 2 or 3. This one we will have to multiply by 2. Okay, so this is a no. So looking at the unit circle, can you tell me what quadrant cosine is positive? This is a positive because when you move the negative one, it's a positive. What quadrant make cosine positive? 2 answers, or 2 quadrants. Anyone? What quadrant is it?
1 and 4.
1 and 4. Yes, that's correct. So looking at your unit circle, you should know what is the root 2 over 2. Cosine is your x for quadrant 1 and quadrant 4. 1 is here, 4 is down there. So what is that going to be? Quadrant 1 is square root of 2 over 2. Anyone?
Pi over 4.
And quadrant 4, you're correct. Pi over 4 is correct. And quadrant 4?
7 pi over 4.
So this will be pi over 4 plus 2n pi. And quadrant 4 will be 7 pi over 4 plus 2n pi. Now again, this is not your answer. It's because you have x over 2. So in order for us to get rid of the over 2, you will have to multiply this by 2, solving equation. So again, when you multiply your left-hand side by 2, you also have to multiply everything on the right-hand side by 2. So that so this will become x. So can someone tell me what is pi over 4 times 2? That will become pi over 2. And then 2n pi, don't forget, 2n pi also need to multiply by 2, so that will give us 4n pi. That means that instead of 1 revolution, this goes 2 revolutions, okay? And then 7 pi over 4 times 2, you will get 7 pi over 2 plus 4n pi also, because your 2n pi will double, become 4n pi. So what I want to point out to you class here is if there is a division like this, x over 2, you have to multiply by 2. If you have 2x like here, you have to divide everything by 2. So make sure you guys know the difference between 2x and x over 2. You just need to do the opposite of it. Okay. The next one is question 7, 8, and 9. Does anyone have any questions for me before I continue with this 7, 8, 9? Now, if you look at question number 7, 8, 9, it wants us to write the answer in 0 to 2 pi. So that means that you do not need to use the 2n pi or n pi. It means it needs 1 revolution. Now, can someone tell me what is the meaning when I use a bracket on the 0 and a 2 pi on the parentheses? Does anyone know what is this means? A bracket and the parentheses.
Does it mean like it has to be between 0 and 2 pi?
And what is a bracket? Yep, that's correct. It's between 0 and 2 pi means 1 revolution. And what is bracket and parentheses stands for? Bracket stands for?
Including.
Yep, so that means it includes 0 and what? Exclude what? 2 pi. And if you look at the unit circle, 0 and 2 pi is the same thing. So that means that if your answer is 0, you don't put 2 pi on it. Okay, they are the same. Okay. So that's the meaning of it. So make sure you guys know that don't put 2 pi as your answer here. It's considered wrong. So this is the first question, number 7, and again, it has two units, two trigonometric. One is sine, one is cosine. So in order for us to do this, it has to be everything in sine or everything in cosine. So what do you guys think about this? Do you want to change everything in cosine or you want to change everything in sine? And this is also coming up in your test. So 7 is coming up in your test. I think 5, right? As 5 mentioned, 5 is coming up in the test. So 7 and 5 is coming up in your test. So we will change this all in cosine. The reason why is because we can change the sine square x into cosine using Pythagorean identity. We cannot change this into sine because there's no square involved. So we cannot use Pythagorean identity for the cosine x. Okay, so the rest is going to be the same. 2 is going to be the same. 2 plus cosine x will be the same. So can someone tell me what is sine square x using Pythagorean identity? We need parentheses. Anyone? What is sine square x?
Cosine square.
What cosine?
Yep. Cosine square minus 1.
Is that cosine square minus 1 or 1 minus cosine square? Is this two the same or different?
1 minus cosine square.
Yes, don't forget cosine square minus 1 and 1 minus cosine square are two different things. Okay, so if you use the wrong one, everything is going to be wrong. Okay, so make sure you know which one is the correct one. Otherwise you're in late trouble. And what do I do next is I will distribute the 2. You see the 2 in front here? I will distribute it. So I will get 2 minus 2 cosine square x equals to 2 plus cosine x. So they're all in terms of cosine now. We can solve for it. As you know that we always want everything on the left side, so we want to make it equal to 0 because this is a square. So I will subtract 2, but since once I subtract 2, this will cancel out. Okay, and I want the cosine square to be positive. So instead of moving the cosine x over here to make everything negative, I'm going to move this over to that side, so to make it positive. So this will become 2 cosine square x plus cosine x. So I will move that over there. So this will become 2 cosine square x plus cosine x. So in this case, you have to factor. Okay, every time when you see squaring, we need to factor. Anyone know how to factor this one? What can we factor up here? Okay, you factor up here. You can factor up your cosine x. And when you factor your cosine x, you will get 2 cosine x plus 1. So this is what happens when you have to factor the cosine x. And because it's equals to 0, then you can set this cosine x equals to 0. And you set this equals to 0. So if you set that equals to 0 and solve for cosine x, this is negative 1/2. You minus 1 and divide by 2. And then you move the cosine over to become the arc cosine. So can someone tell me, using the unit circle, what angle give us the arc cosine of 0? Don't forget, cosine is your x value. So which one of this give us 0 for cosine, for the arc cosine?
Pi over 2.
Pi over 2, and what else? Because it's x is 0, and what else?
3 pi over 2.
3 pi over 2, your x is 0. So this case will give us pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2. And you do not need to do that 2n pi here because this is for one circle. This one, if you move it over here, you will become the arc cosine of negative 1/2. Can someone tell me what quadrant will give negative for cosine? What quadrant is that? Cosine is negative in quadrant 2 and quadrant 3. So if you look at this, again, we are looking for the x value. We are looking for quadrant 2 and quadrant 3. So this, which is this half of it, 2 and 3 is here. So which one of these give us negative 1/2 for your x value? Anyone? Anyone?
Two pi over 3 and 4 pi over 3.
2 pi over 3 and 4 pi over 3. Yep, that is correct. And this is your answer in this case for number 7. Anyone have any questions for me? And as I told you, this question is coming up in your test, very similar. Okay, means you have to use a Pythagorean identity. You have to factor this. And then after that, you have to make it equal to 0 and then solve for x. Anyone have any questions for me? We'll do the last 2 one, number 8 and number 9. So question number 8 is given us by this: sine x minus 2 equals to cosine x minus 2. So sine x minus 2 equals to cosine x minus 2. The good news is the minus 2 and the minus 2, they will cancel out because when you add 2 on both sides, it's 0. So what we left in this case is sine x equals to cosine x. Unfortunately, we cannot use Pythagorean identity here. The reason why is because that's not squaring. Okay, so anyone know what to do here once you reach into this stage on number 8? Anyone? can we square both sides? And the reason why we square both sides is because we can use Pythagorean, right? Identity. Can we square both sides here first? Can we do this? The answer is we can do this, but once you get your answer here, you have to do what? You have to check it. Remember last time we got 4 answers? You have to check 4 times. Every single answer, you have to plug it back into here and check if they are equal or not. It's a lot of work, right? So you can do it. It's not wrong. You can do it. It's just a lot of work. Then you can use a Pythagorean identity and because it's square. Anyone know another way to do this besides squaring both sides? You can do that, but I prefer not to. We can divide. So what we do here is we will divide both sides by cosine x. The reason why we divide is because we know the division for sine and cosine. Does anyone know what is sine divided by cosine?
10.
This is tangent x. And this is cosine divided by cosine is 1. So when you move, so x in this case is the arctangent of 1. And can someone tell me what quadrant is positive for tangent? Quadrant. Anyone?
1 and 3.
1 and 3. So now look at the unit circle that we have here. So which one of these will give us in 1 and 3? 1 for tangent. So tangent means y over x. So if you see any y over x, that's your tangent. Which one of that gives us 1? What angle is that?
Pi over 4.
Pi over 4 and
5 pi over 4.
Because there's a right across from each other. So your answer in this case will be x in this case will be pi over 4 and 5 pi over 4. All right, question 9. This is the last question we're gonna do here, and then we will review for your tests. Now talking about review for your test, I don't know you guys know that we have the test starts at noon, right? At 11, we will have a review going on Monday and Wednesday. So if you are taking a test on Monday, at 11, we will have a review. We got 1 hour review from 11 to 12. And then after that, 12 to 1:30, you take a test. So the review section is optional to come, but I really highly recommend you to come. It's going to be on the same classroom. I think it's CLA 112. So I think it's 112 or 114. It's one of those classrooms. Check your D2L, check my syllabus for where is it at. I think it's 112, but it will be an hour early at 11 to 12. If the classroom is available, it means no one in the classroom, we will definitely stay in the classroom and do the review. If someone is using that classroom, because I didn't know, my class time is from 12 to 1:30. So someone might using that classroom at 11. So if someone is using that classroom, then please look around, maybe on the back side, the next, the right, somewhere around there, you will hear my voice, teaching you guys, and it's going to be your class. So don't wait outside, just walk into the classroom. Okay. I got some students wait outside. I was like, no, it's coming. So make sure that if someone in the classroom teaching, I'll be teaching nearby there. Okay, you can hear my voice coming up. So so that's the reason why that make sure you come at 11 to 12 for the review section. Very, very recommended to come. So let's take a look at question number 9 here. Can someone tell me, are we gonna change all this in secant, or are we gonna use as tangent? Which one you wanna pick? Because they're all squares here, which is, you know what to do. So pick one variables. My choice is I will pick it all in tangent. The reason why is because we've got the unit circle. The unit circle is always sine, cosine, and tangent. If you use secant, cosecant, cotangent, then you have to flip-flop it. Okay, just an extra work. So I'll just pick everything in tangent. So can someone tell me using the Pythagorean identity, what is secant square x?
One plus tangent squared.
Mhm. And now we need to solve it. So we distribute the 2. So this 2 we have to distribute in there. So we will get 2 plus 2 tangent square x. And then we still have a plus tangent square x minus 3 at the back. So now we need to solve for this case. Combine like terms, you will get 3 tangent square x. 2 minus 3 is 1. So I combine these two and combine the numbers. You guys go ahead and tell me what is tangent x in this case. Solve it. You guys know how to solve this, right? Don't forget, you got the square here, means you have what? Plus minus. Okay, because you got the square here, means plus minus. That means you have to give me 4 answers, 4 quadrants. Anyone know what is this when you solve for your x or tangent x? So this is 1/3, right? Plus 1 divided by 3, and take the square root of this. Can someone rationalize this for me?
Would it be root 3 over 3?
And then I move the tangent over there, so it becomes arctangent. And because there's plus and minuses, you have to give me 4 quadrants. So so let's take a look at your unit circle. And again, tangent is for y over x. So which one of this will give us root 3 over 3? Pi 6, pi 4, or pi 3? Anyone? Anyone?
5 or 6.
So it's pi 6. What else? Quadrant 1. Don't forget, give me 4 quadrants. Second quadrant is what?
5 pi over 6.
And then,
7 pi over 6.
and
11 pi over 6.
yep. So this is your answer in this case. So make sure you guys know how to do this. And the reason why I stop at 9 is because this is mostly you will get in your test. So I'm really concentrate more on the test because this is the one that you guys need to know that. So you got 2 homeworks due tonight, right? So 2 online homework due tonight, which will be 7.1 and 7.2. And this is due tonight. 7.2, not 7.3. When you talk about 7.3, when is your online homework due on 7.3? Anyone know when is this due?
October 3rd.
Which is Sunday. Yes, it is due on Sunday midnight. So usually your test, your homework is due on Wednesday, but for 7.3, this section is due on Sunday, this Sunday midnight. The reason why is because of the test. So we take the test on Monday, so we take the test on Wednesday. So so make sure you guys know this is due on Sunday, and there'll be no homework due for the next week. Okay, just want to point out to you guys so you guys know what to do here. So I'm going to save this as the last one. So we're going to start to review on your tests here. So I will go through the one that is not in the, as I told you, right? 90% of your test came from the review that I give it to you, right? So there are like a couple questions that is not in there. So I'm gonna do that one first so that so you guys know what's going on. So I'm gonna go to the textbook and I am going to look at some questions on the textbook here. So we are again we are going through the review that is not found in your review paper that I emailed to you guys. So let's look at chapter 6 here. We're gonna talk about so I'm gonna go to review exercise. Remember last time I go chapter test, right? So I'm gonna go review exercise because these are the questions that will be in that is not in the review that I hand out to you. So let's talk about let's see. Sorry, I'm looking. This is all using calculator. Yep, nope, it's not in here. So I'm gonna, sorry, I thought it's in here, but it's not in here. So I'm gonna do 6.3 then, 6.3 exercise. So 6.3 exercise is the one that, yep, it's better using this one. There is a bunch of it here. Yep, right here. Question number 33 to 42. So these are the questions that I want you to try it. This is what you will get in my test. This is 6.3 homework. Not your online homework, but your written homework. So if you look at your textbook, it's on the back. Question 33 to 42. So this is what you will get. And this is not in the review that I sent it to you. So can someone tell me what is sine 0 is? Question 33. And again, in order for you to do this kind of questions, you need that unit circle. So can someone tell me what is sine 0 is?
Pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2?
No, that will be wrong. So be careful with what we did last time. Last time we do the arc sine of it. When I ask you for arc sine, then your answer is gonna be in radian, like pi over 3 and all these things, right? But this is not an arc sine. This is just sine.
Is it 180 and 0?
No.
Never mind.
Okay, so that's why I want you to go over this with you guys. So how do we use the unit circle for this case? So be careful. When I ask for arc sine, you're looking at your coordinates, right? Can someone tell me what is arc sine of 1/2 is? Looking at your unit circle. What is arc sine of 1/2? Hello? Half arc sine is what? Pi over 6, right? So my question to you is, what is sine pi over 6? So if I ask you that, you don't look at the coordinates, you look at pi over 6. And sine in this case is 1/2. So if I ask you for sine 0, you look at the 0 angle, which is this one. Can you tell me which coordinate we use for sine, x or y?
Y.
So what is sine 0 is?
0.
0. So make sure you guys know the difference between an arc sine and the sine, or arc cosine and cosine, because those two are different. And a lot of students get those two mixed up. Okay. Next one we're gonna do is, yep, we're gonna do all those things. Cosecant of 3 pi over 2. And then we'll do secant of 3 pi over 2. Secant of pi, sine of pi over 2. I'm gonna go through this whole list here. Cotangent 0, because you will get this in your test. Cosecant pi, start at 39. This is number 39. All right. So let's talk about this one. Cosecant 3 pi over 2. Now, cosecant, can someone tell me what is the reciprocal of cosecant?
1 over secant.
So it's a sine, right? 1 over it's not secant, sine. 1 over sine. So cosecant is 1 over sine. So so what you do here is you find out what is sine 3 pi over 2 is. And how do we do that? Is look at the 3 pi over 2, which is right here. Can someone tell me what is sine in this case?
-1.
-1. So if you know this is -1, in order for you to find the cosecant, you just need to flip it. So can someone tell me what is the flip of this fellow? -1. It's still what? -1 if you flip it. So that's how you figure this part. So can someone tell me how you do the next one? Secant 3 pi over 2.
Secant is 1 over cosine.
So look at your cosine of 3 pi over 2 is what? What's cosine 3 pi over 2 is?
0.
0. So secant means you have to flip it, right? So do you know what happens when you flip the 0?
Would it be undefined?
You'll be undefined, yes, because the 0 is in the denominator now. So it will be undefined. Secant pi, you guys have to do this because this is your test, right? Yes, 1 point each. There are 10 of these questions. So go ahead and try secant pi. Anyone? Adrian, Danny, Cameron?
Would it be -1?
Yep, because cosine pi is -1. So when you flip it, this is -1. Yep, this is correct. Next, sine pi over 2. You should know this. What is sine pi over 2?
It's just 1.
Just 1, which is this one, the y value. Cotangent 0. Again, that 0 is a radian. What's cotangent 0? Now, if you know tangent is what over what? Is y over x, right? So cotangent is going to be what over what? This will be x over y, right? Can you look at the unit circle here? What is the coordinates for 0? X is, this is 0. X is what? 1. And y is 0. So what you get here is 1 over 0. What is 1 over 0 means? This will be undefined. So make sure you guys understand that once your 0 is in the denominator, it's undefined here. Cosecant pi. Cosecant pi. What?
Would it be undefined?
Yep, because cosecant is sine, so sine is 0. So when you do cosecant, when you flip it, the 0 is in the denominator, so this will be undefined also. Yep, that is correct. Let's do the next few ones. 40 is cotangent pi over 2, or I can give you more. Cosine 9 pi over 2, and tangent, let's see that, is it negative? Oh, yep, there you go. Tangent negative pi over 2. All right, it's the last 3, and I'll give you a bunch more later on, because this is enough. Anyone know what is cotangent pi over 2 is? Sorry, my bad handwriting or horrible handwriting. Anyone?
Zero.
So this is cotangent is x over y, right? And x in this case is 0, and y in this case is 1. So this is 0. Yep, you're correct. Now we could talk about cosine 9 pi over 2. So do not forget that class that your angle is not necessary to be just 1 revolution. It can go a lot of revolution. So can someone tell me where is 9 pi over 2? Because if you look at this, you won't see 9 pi over 2 because it goes more than 1 circle. So can someone tell me where is 9 pi over 2 is? You know the reference angle? Coterminal angles? You keep on adding 360, subtract 360 on the first day of class, remember that? So you have to perform the same thing. So you have to add or subtract 2 pi. But we know that 9 pi over 2 is more than, so we have to subtract 2 pi. So can someone tell me what happens when you take 9 over 2 subtract by 2? Which is 1 revolution. So that, this is the same thing as 4 over 2. So this is 5 over 2, and 5 over 2 is still more than 1 revolution. So you have to go for another one. So this is actually is 1 over 2. So this 9 pi over 2 is the same thing as pi over 2. And can someone tell me what is cosine of that? And your answer is
0.
0. Yep. And don't forget that sometimes your angle can be negative. So if your angle is negative, then you can use the even odd identity. So even odd identity is go for negative angles. So if you have cosine or secant, your negative will disappear. That means it won't be, you can take it out. But if you have the rest, sine, tangent, cosecant, and cotangent, your negative will be put up front. So like this case, this negative belongs to tangent. So you take the negative up front, and this negative will become positive. So can someone tell me what is tangent pi over 2? This is pi over 2, right? And tangent is what over what?
X over Y, 0 divided by 1.
0 divided by 1 or 1 divided by 0? Which one? Is that 1 over 0 or 0 over 1? Don't forget tangent is y over x. This is 1 over 0. And what happens when you have 1 over 0?
Undefined.
Undefined. Yep. I don't care if you have a negative or positive. This is undefined. So these are the one that you get. So I'm going to give you more because guess what? A lot of you a lot of people do not too well in this class is because of this. They 10 points, they don't get a lot because they. And how do you guys practice this? It's very easy. Give me a trigonometric function out of 6. Okay, I'll do secant. Okay. And then pick you see that over 3, over 4, over 6, over 2, right? So take anything that is over. So let's say you want to over 6. So you just give me a fraction like 10 pi over 6. And that's how you do it. And your answer is one of this. Okay. So what you need to do if you got this kind of questions, first thing you need to do, class, is to reduce, because you can tell all these fractions is all been reduced. This question, the 10 over 6 is not being reduced. Can someone reduce that for me? Sure.
5/3.
Yep, so this is 5 pi over 3. So now you can look at the unit circle here. Do we have 5 pi over 3? We do right here, right? If you don't have the number that you're looking for, means this angle is over 1 revolution. So you need to either add or subtract 2 pi or 360. Okay. Secant is cosine, right? So can someone tell me what is cosine 5 pi over 3? Cosine is your x or your y value?
X value.
So it's half, right? So what is secant 5 pi over 3? What are you going to do with this 1/2? You flip it. So you guys know what is 1/2 when you flip it? The answer will be 2. So can someone, it's attendance time, so please put in present in your chat room. I'm gonna give you a lot of this. This is degree. So not necessarily everything has to be in radian. It can be degree too. So make sure you guys know the difference between radian and degree here. So can someone tell me what is cosecant 225 degrees? Cosecant 225 degrees. What is that? This is in your test next week.
Is it 5 pi over 4?
I
Or
do
do you
not.
want it-
Okay. A lot of 225, 5 pi over 4. Is this your answer, class? No, 0. Okay. I'm looking for the value. I'm not looking for the rate. I'm not looking to change. See, like 10 pi over 6, I'm not looking for you to change it into degree. I'm not asking you to change radian to degree or degree to radian. I'm asking for what is cosecant 225. So don't look at this and give me 5 pi over 4. So don't give me 5 pi over 3. My answer is 300 degrees. No, this is, again, we are looking for the coordinates here. So when you ask for cosecant 225, I'm asking for what is the coordinates we're using here.
Oh, the negative square 2 over 2?
But this is cosecant.
Oh, so it's positive, right? Or no. You flip it.
So it should be, so it should be negative √2 over 2. But that is for sine, right? So you have to flip it. You are correct. So what is the flip of this? Negative. Flip means still negative. 2 over by √2, right? Now, don't leave your answer like this. You won't get full points. Can someone tell me what is negative 2 over √2 is?
Isn't
Neg-
it
Negative 2 square root of 2 over square root of 2.
No. Negative 2 square root of 2 over what? Just 2. So what happens to the 2's? They will cancel out. So this is actually negative √2. What is cotangent? I need some little cheat here. Let's do something because 855 degrees. So what is cotangent 855 degrees? So you know 855 is more than 1 revolution, right? So how do we put 855 in just the first revolution? What do we do?
You would subtract it by 720 degrees.
Because there's 2 revolution. And what you get?
I got 135.
135. Yep. So now you look at cotangent 135 degrees, which is this fellow. This is 135. Cotangent is what over what again? Divide these two, right? Do you know what happens when you divide these two?
Negative 1.
That's your answer. Secant of negative 5 pi over 6. So now we do negative angles. So if you remember, if you have secant or cosine, the negative will disappear. So if you want to find secant of negative 5 pi over 6, this is the same thing as secant 5 pi over 6. Because the negative is an even function, means that the negative will disappear. So now looking at this, where is secant 5 pi over 6 is? And don't forget it's secant, so you look at the reciprocal of it. Yep. Anyone? Which one you're looking for? The X or the Y? 5 pi over 6, right? X or Y?
X value.
And you have to flip it, right? So it's negative √3 over 2. But that is for cosine. Secant, you have to flip it. So flip it will become negative 2 over √3. Can someone rationalize this for me? You have to flip that. What's your answer here? Negative what?
Negative 2 √3 over 3.
Yep, that is your answer. Yep. So class, this is something I will really want you guys to practice. This is something that I cannot, this is, you have to know how to do this using your unit circle to help you. If it's more than 360 or 2 pi, you have to subtract them into, so that you'll be in 0 to 2 pi or 0 to 360. If they have a negative, if they are secant or they are cosine, the negative will disappear. If they are sine or tangent with a negative, it will pull up front. So if I say sine negative pi over, let's say 4, So what happened is that this negative will be pulled out. So what you got in here is sine pi over 4. So you just need to figure out what is sine pi over 4 is using the unit circle, and then you just put the negative in front. So anyone know what is sine pi over 4 is using the unit circle? Anyone? This will be negative what? Pi over 4 will be root 2 over 2, right? So this will be root 2 over 2 with a negative. So make sure you guys practice this. And if this is a if you go more than 360 on the negative side, so you add 360 instead of subtract 360 on this case. So class, this is something that is not in that review piece I give it to you. So make sure you know how to do this. And as I mentioned, as I told you, the first test, I give you the unit circle. And I want to say, like, I want to point it out, in the next test and your finals, the unit circle will not be provided to you. Means you need to know how to do this on your own now. That means I won't give you any of this unit circle at all. So first test, yes, because you know you still getting to know all this. But once you hit once the first test over, this unit circle will not be, it will be used, but I'm not. That means when I ask you what is sine pi over 6, 5 pi over 6, your answer in this case will be 1/2. You have to give to me like really quick. So that's not, you cannot use a unit circle in that case. In the next so in the next test and the finals, you have to do your own unit circles. Questions? Anyone?
So for secant, why did you remove the negative?
Because it's an even function. So it's one of the identity, the even odd identity, which is right on here. So if you have a secant with a negative, the negative is removed. Same thing with cosine. See that?
Yeah.
So this is the form. This is what we call as even odd identity. This is only used when you have negative angles. But sine and cosecant and cotangent and tangent, the negative, you move it up front. Then the negative angle become positive. Like what we did here. So the negative, move it up front. This negative will disappear. Yep. Anyone have any questions for me before we stop the Zoom? Anyone have any homework questions for me? Do practice this. This is something that I really, really strongly for you guys to do it. And don't forget to come to my my review session on 11 o'clock on Monday or Wednesday, depends on your last name. I have no room to go to Wednesday. I already accept the last students, so the Wednesday class is quite full now. So those students from A to M, you have to stay back on Monday now. You cannot move to Wednesday. But if you're studying students from Wednesday want to move to Monday, be my guest, because now I got room on Monday classes. So so as usual, 11 to 12 is your Zoom. It's on Zoom. No Zoom. 11 to 12 next week is your review in class, and then 12 to 1:30 will be in class test. Make sure you have your face mask. I think it's in CLA 114, 112. Can anyone double check where was it at? I think it's 114. It's in I think it's 114. It's in my syllabus also. So make sure you guys know where is CLA 114 is. I do recommend you guys to go ahead of time, go early. If you 11, I recommend go at 10:40. Be your school at 10:45 or 10:50 and try to look for the classroom if you're not familiar with the classroom at CLA 114. I'm gonna see first. It is in CLA 114. Yep, CLA 114. Yep. So make sure you guys know where is all these places is. Okay. So I'm gonna stop recording.